Welcome back to the Nrgy Speaks Life podcast. I'm Coach Nrgy, the self mastery coach, speaker, mediator, and author. On this show, if you're new, thank you for tuning in. And if you are a returning listener, thank you for coming back. Because on this show, we talk about everything personal development and self improvement for those who want to achieve self mastery. Each episode, we share tips, strategies, techniques, tools, all types of things that are practical that you can take action on the same day. And my guest this week, I have Tina here. Tina is going to talk about everything regarding people pleasing and the obstacles and accomplishments that comes with it. So Tina, welcome to the show, and please introduce yourself to our listeners and let us know your experience or your relation to the topic of people pleasing that we will be discussing today.
Thank you, Nrgy. Hi, everyone. My name is Tina Hoang. I am a podcaster and it's brand new. So it's called The Courageous Interviews, where we're pretty much just be courageous for yourself every day, every second, every minute, every hour, because choosing yourself is important. So how people pleasing is relations to me is my own personal experience. I grew up being as a people pleaser, and it's been so blind and passively of not knowing what to do for yourself that everyone else matters more than you, or matters more to yourself. And so what people pleasing is really much having the urgency to please others in the extent of yourself. So anything that you want, what you desire, what you need, it doesn't matter. It could be in the back burner. And because everyone else's feelings, obligations, things that they want, those things need to be done first. And if, for example, if someone is angry because they didn't get ice cream, as a people pleaser, you feel like you're responsible for that. You're responsible to make sure that they're not angry anymore. To figure out, like, oh, what can I do to not get angry? You need to be happy. I want you to be happy. I want to be calm. Like, it's your responsibility. You're responsible for their feelings as a people pleaser. But really, you're not. And so that's kind of like the whole enchilada of what people pleasing is just overextending yourself. Even if every single person in this world, to some extent, is a people pleaser, but as like in a very extensive point, you're pretty much existing in life and not living for yourself.
Yes. That's an awesome introduction to what people pleasing is. And you mentioned that you yourself experienced it. Do you remember how how old you were from when you, thinking back now, when you first started seeing or can see, yeah, I really, was going extreme with trying to please other people and putting others before myself. About how old were you when you first noticed that?
I Middle school, elementary school, so 10 or 11.
Mhm.
I mean, I was still blindly, I knew when I was 10 or 11, I knew that was passive. Everything that I'd done was for other people, but it wasn't getting to the point of, can I do something about it? Because all I knew was, at least in my culture, family is first. We're all collective, and you're pretty much considered selfish if you're thinking of yourself. Like, you're supposed to take care of your friends, your family, your parents, your siblings. Especially as a woman in my culture, it's you need to do that. And throughout until I was actually in 2019, that's when I like, oh hell no, I don't want to do this anymore. I decided, honestly, I think it was when I was dating someone at the time, actually, and it didn't go down really well. But in the end, um, they were saying, Tina, I find your passivity unattractive. They did. And I was not, I was shocked. I was sad, hurt, so many feelings within it. And that's when I finally like made that shift. Because for like throughout my whole life, so I was 10, 11, so 20 years of my life, maybe even more, I was just, oh, I don't know how to go about this. I don't know what should I do. So the fact that they said this, it gave me two options what to do with this. Take that statement. Okay, yeah, that okay, I am passive. That's how I am. That's how I am. I will always be this. I will be that person who exists. Or fuck this. No, no. This is not what I want to be anymore. This is not who I want to continue. And so thankfully I chose that latter half. She was like, fuck it. I'm gonna do this for myself. I'm not with this person anymore. Bah, I don't need that person. And honestly, it took it's been like, so 2019, it's like 3 years now. And I'm still struggling with it. I'm still struggling with it a lot. But looking back, I've accomplished so much. And it's it's so rewarding. It is. Like I just feel so rewarding to know that I can say no. When someone asks me, Tina, do you want to go to the family gathering? I can safely say to myself, like, no, I don't want to go. I'm okay. Thank you. Versus going and dreading it the whole time. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I do want to talk about the accomplishments. However, let's start first with the obstacles. So what are some of the obstacles that either you yourself experienced and or that you know of people who are people pleasers, some of the things that they come into contact with as far as being an obstacle as well?
Through my own experience, an obstacle and this is one of the biggest ones I deal handle with every single day, even now, is the internal battle of who you were then and where you are now. Because who you were then is telling you, it's like, no, no one's gonna love you if you decide to choose yourself. No one's gonna like you. Everyone's gonna judge you if you decide this decision. And then the other side of your present self now is like, no, no, they're not, it's okay. Like, even if if they don't like it, maybe they're not meant to be in your life. Maybe this is why you don't need to serve them, because they would understand if there are people who understand and love you unconditionally, they would accept what you want, and that you have your boundaries up now. And so I always have this internal battle within myself of like, okay, you need a quiet, okay? Like it's time, because sometimes my inner child voice is talking, like screaming and yelling, like, girl, your friend's gonna leave you. Your friend's not gonna like you anymore. They're gonna hate you. There's just so much critical voices in it, right? And that's like one of the obstacles that I go through of being compassionate with her, because talking to her, empathizing with her, like it's okay, not a problem. I understand that it's scary. It's scary to be where you're going to do. You don't know what's gonna be like. You feel like they're gonna hate you. And then using the present voice to talk to her and just soothe her. And of course, my own personal experience, that inner voice is a very stubborn girl. So stubborn. Like she will yell and just be like, oh, no, I don't want to go. Don't make me. Don't make me. Don't make me go. So that's on another time of like, okay, I understand. Okay, sit. Like you have to make that decision, because we can't let I can't let that inner voice take over everything in my life where everyone else is important but myself. So that's one of the obstacles that I go through. And then another obstacle that I go through is people around me who doesn't understand the changes that I'm making through. The changes they're like so used to what I've always been, catering to them, listening to them, saying yes to them, never saying no. And when they see this change in me, they don't take it well. They're pretty much, it's like a backlash kind of thing of like, oh, why I see you changing. Why are you doing this? Like, you know, I've done this before, and I just put my hands up and I'm like, well, this is me now. And so like those kind of like the two obstacles I tend to go through quite often, even as I'm recovering from it now. But even so, yeah, I'm recovering then and even now too. It's yeah, just so many battles. It's all in your mind of like the, and also on top of that too is when you're battling, you're paralyzed as well. You're like, can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. Do I have permission? Am I allowed to do this for myself? And having that obstacle to understand that, yes, Tina, you have permission. You don't need to ask anyone else but yourself. You can just do it. You can do it. And so that's like one of the obstacles that I have to go through too.
Yeah, and you said the word as soon as I was writing it down, permission. It's it's so interesting how those who are people pleasers, when they're going through that shift or that change of wanting to, find their voice, grow, kind of like strengthen, that backbone, have a backbone to themselves, they often struggle with making choices because it's foreign to them. It's new. It's a different territory for them. And they often are like, is this okay? Because they don't know if they're doing something wrong, because it doesn't quite feel right within them. Because for so many years, they may have been told, no, you don't do this, or you don't do this, or you always need to say yes to this, or you always need to do this for, whatever. And the permission piece is the part that a lot of people do struggle with, needing to really learn how to make their own choices and being confident in their own choices. And people pleasing is also a result of lack of confidence as well. So for
Yes.
those who are listening, and if you find yourself of kind of fitting or matching that group of being a people pleaser, kind of also look into like, where's your confidence level within yourself? Where's your confidence level when you are making choices? And one thing that I like to share whenever I'm working with clients or just in regular conversations with people who are struggling with this issue, I let them, or I'll ask them, okay, what part of your life are you absolutely confident in? What part of your life do you not have to ask anyone questions about? You know for a fact that this is, you're doing it the right way. And when they give me that answer, I say, okay, take that same excitement, that same energy, that same thought process, and apply it to your family, or apply it to your personal life, or apply it to, whatever areas that they're currently struggling with. And when I kind of showed them the comparison, which is the main reason I do that, is to show them that you actually do have the strength, to speak up for yourself. You do it in this area every day. You just have to apply that same thing, apply that same technique, apply that same voice to this other area, even though it may feel uncomfortable. And so they are able to then see, okay, I actually can do this. Or, it's not going to be this huge undertaking that just seems unbearable or impossible. And so a lot of times people just have to be shown that you are actually doing well. You're doing this thing the right way in this other area. So, just apply it over here too. And man, that just kind of lights that fire in people to where they're like, okay, you know what? I can do it. And then they start kind of going through the visuals of, okay, so when I do it this way in this part of my life, what is it about it? Okay, it's because I kept going with it, or I didn't give up on it, or I learned to just say, you know what, I've analyzed, both sides of things, and after, thinking about it thoroughly, I'm confident in this choice being my final choice. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention about the permission aspect when you were talking about the whole internal voice of who you were versus who you are now. And then, especially when people around you, they're so used to you being one way, they're so used to pretty much like controlling you, because they know what to say or how to say something to get you to respond in the way that they want you to respond, even if it doesn't serve you. And so, yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Those were two awesome obstacles that you brought up as examples, because I know that a lot of people do deal with that. And so, as far as the accomplishments that you've experienced, kind of tell us about that and give us some examples of the accomplishments.
Some accomplishments is, well, I know how it started with just journaling every day. That's how, like, just journaling, because when you have that idea of like, okay, let's do this. I don't want to be a people pleaser anymore. I want to recover from it. You're like, okay, but how do I start? Where do I go? Like, you can't just snap and just like, boom, I'll be assertive now. Boom, I want to say no to people. So how I start with my accomplishment, or like my segue to accomplishing my recovery, is just journaling every day. Journaling of like what is going on, what is going through my mind, what I want to do next. And if there's throughout the whole day, you're taking one step to saying no to a stranger. If someone asks you, can you help me clean this? Oh, can you help me walk me to my car? You say yes. Or he's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't right now because you have other things. Or even saying no to your parents, which is a very huge deal in many cultures, of because your parents are the one who raised you, and whatever they say, you should abide to it. And so and that's like one of the first many accomplishments that I did, was telling my parents, no, I don't want. They asked me, do you want broccoli in your food, for example. I was like, no, thank you. Or even if sometimes my parents like to open my mail sometimes. And so and then I would ask them, no, I would appreciate it if you don't. And so, those kind of compliments, just like going out of time. And also, when someone asks me, Tina, do you want to go to dinner tonight? Go to a certain restaurant that they like. I say, no, can we go here instead? And know that they won't get mad. They won't love me anymore. They won't hate me because I decided, like, I don't want to go here. Another accomplishment that I would say is, if me and my friend wants to go to maybe want to go to the zoo, and we want to see different animals. So I would say, okay, so I want to go see the giraffes. What do you think? Do you want to go see the giraffes, or you want to see the lions, or another animal that you want to look at? That is already, you're placing yourself first, saying what you want, and then offering the suggestion to your friend that they can decide that or not. Versus just saying, hey, let's go to the zoo. Want to go see the giraffes? Do you want to see the lions? You haven't even said what you want yet, and it's okay to say what you want, and then give the option to your friend to choose that. And so just having those little things in my life of also all the accomplishments I've done to really small in it, but then it accumulates all these small accomplishments. It's making me feel so much more confident, like what Nrgy was saying. Like really, like it depends on your confidence level. Because the more you build your confidence, the the feeling of not having to please anyone lessens. And this also helps for me too. It's words and affirmation, the love language. I remember when I first decided that I don't want to be a people pleaser anymore. I One of the first things, like so New Year's Eve, around New Year's Eve, I decided, New Year's Eve we all hang out with friends and loved ones. I decided this year I'm gonna be by myself. And that was already a small accomplishment. And then when 12 struck, midnight struck, the first thing I said to myself is even like it's kind of still hurt. Like no, I'm still feeling it. The first thing I told myself was, I'm proud of you, Tina. I'm so proud of you. Because when your confidence is so low, like you don't believe what you have accomplished throughout the years. So I said that to myself and I cried. I cried so much. I was like, you're so amazing, Tina. I am amazing. I'm beautiful. I'm gorgeous. I have accomplished so many things so far and be ready for more, and words and affirmations help me a lot in that regard of because I do matter. What I am and what I can do matters. And so it's just like so those are some of the accomplishments that I over time still do till now. And yeah, I I'm so proud of I can now like now if I now I can proudly say I am proud of myself without feeling any like not without any feeling any disregard to it, saying like, oh, I'm not, so now I believe my confidence and I believe that I'm proud of myself of so much things that I have done. And I want every listener to know that I am proud of you. You're doing so great right now. You're doing so amazing. Just where you are right now and everything. It's every step, it's one step closer to being where you want to be. And it's very close to my heart of like, it's as a recurring people pleaser, it's you've never been in front.
Mm.
Now it's time.
Ooh, wow, Tina. Oh my gosh. I'm proud of you as well. And to those who are listening, absolutely. Thank you for saying that to those who are tuning in because there is someone who needed to hear that. There is someone who needed to hear you speak that into them because they're not getting it from home. They're not getting it from anywhere, anyone else or anywhere else. So that was special. And as you were speaking, I wanted to also point out that to change the behavior, the first thing that had to change was the mindset, was your thought. Before
Yeah.
anything else can change, as far as things that we do, habits that we may have, behaviors, it has to start in the mind. You have to make the choice to say, I want to do something different. I want something more for my life. I want something better for my life. I want to, like, enough is enough type of thing. Like, you have to be fed up. You have to get to a
Mm-hmm.
point to where you are like, you're over it and
Mm-hmm.
you want to do something new. You want to do something different. And so it starts in the mind. So you have to make a choice to say, okay, I'm aware that I'm a people pleaser. and I no longer want to be that anymore moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Start there, because self awareness is the key. Once you are aware of the thing, you're aware of the issue, then the next step is to change your mindset about it, and then start putting a plan in place, and then start following through with your plan that you put in place. So there's a whole pathway of things or steps, or like a guideline of how to make those changes and those adjustments. But the mindset, absolutely. I just wanted to come back to that point that you were making when you said, when the clock strikes 12, that's it. I'm
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah.
That is
And
awesome.
it's also so great, like, because as a people pleaser, there's always been one voice. There's always been one voice, like your past voice of like of telling you this is how you're supposed to be, this is always you've been be. When you make that when you change that mindset of like, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna change it, the middle part of that internal battle of like when you were and where you are now, that means it's moving, it's just transitioning to one area to another. So that mindset, like you said, like it's it's a choice that you make. And so when you have the internal battle, like just keep going, just keep going. It's like eventually the mind will go to one area that you want to be, and then you can say, hi, hello, past, I see you. Okay, just stay there. I'm gonna go keep going, gonna keep moving, keep moving towards where I want to be. And so if you're already in that, like, self-awareness is definitely in there. Like once you're self-aware, and then you're able to pick and choose. When you hear that voice, past voice coming in, you can observe it, talk to it, and let it sit there, and go with where your mind is now. And then versus when you're not self-aware, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on at all. So yeah, so I totally agree, Nrgy. It's yeah, self-awareness is the key to moving forward where you want to be. And having that mind, starting with your mind, and knowing when to start moving.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that's why in my coaching business, the three pillars or areas that I focus on, the first one that I focus on regarding self-mastery, the first one is always mindset mastery, because it starts there. And so within that category or that area of mindset, that's where self-awareness is step one. I actually cover this, and I have a coaching program that's out. It is available on my website. Everyone, if you are listening and if you have not gotten your copy, please make sure you go grab your copy today. On my website, nrgspeakslife.com, I have my audio coaching program. So it's a self-paced coaching program where I walk you through the 7 keys of discovering who you are, and everything that you need to know as far as self mastery, regarding self mastery. So we cover the topics of mindset mastery, emotional mastery, and purpose discovery. And yeah, for me, self awareness is always key, is always critical, as being the first part before anything can change. Because just like you said, if you're not aware, then you don't know that it's an issue. You don't know that it needs to, have some
Yeah.
attention or the spotlight put on it to, to help improve in that area. So, or to grow or to develop in a certain area.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely that was a little plug for my audio coaching program out there. You guys make sure you check it out. What's your passcode? Check out the keys to hacking access to the life of your dreams. What's your passcode? But so Tina, excuse me, when you were talking about the example of going to the zoo, and if you're going with a friend and speaking up and saying, hey, this is what I would like to do, and then providing some other choices, it reminded me of another conversation I was having with someone, and they are a traveler, and they were telling me and explaining to me the difference in how when they travel with other people versus how now they prefer to kind of travel by themselves. Because when they travel with a group of people, or even if it's just one other person, they fall into that sense of people pleasing. And so on this vacation, they're doing everything that the other person wants to do. Even if they don't want to do it, they find themselves doing everything that this other person or the group of people want to do. And they were explaining how after a few trips and spending money and realizing once the vacation was over how they really didn't enjoy themselves to the fullest, and they spent all that money, they were like, now I prefer to travel by myself because they don't have the pressure of needing to please a group of people or needing to please this other their traveling partner. And so when you were talking about the zoo, I immediately went back to that conversation. And sometimes that's that may be one of the strategies that a person has to take along their journey of getting out of being or no longer being a people pleaser. Sometimes you may just have to do things yourself, do
Yes.
solo activities, do solo events until you
Yes.
build that muscle and the
Mm-hmm.
confidence of being able to say, no, I don't want to do that right now, or you can go do that, but I'm going to go over here and do this right now instead.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was happy that you brought up that zoo example because that's important. Even
Yeah.
even in relationships, like you were saying, one of your past relationships, the person mentioned that the passiveness wasn't attractive to them. And this happens a lot in relationships where, one partner may say or may ask the opinion to the other, and the other person just does not give them input, doesn't give them, their choice of options or whatever. And it's like that can get tiring. That can get, kind of old to where it's like, man, I'm making all the choices. If one person is always just saying, oh, we can do whatever you want to do, or, no, we can whatever.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah. And no, that makes sense. Yeah. When someone makes all the choices all the time, they get tired. And I mean, the person did want me to make choices, but I didn't know how. Like I didn't know, or like in the earlier, like did I even have permission? Did I even have permission to even? You asked me, oh not you, but like the person asked me, blah blank blank blank. It's like, can I do that? Do you really want me to answer? What if you don't like it? This kind of thing. And so, and also like going back to traveling too, I resonate so much. Like it was a light bulb on my head because that's what exactly how I felt. Like I love 100% love traveling by myself over anyone. Like I solo traveled to Taiwan for 2 weeks, traveled to Europe for 2 weeks, and like travel to different states in the US. You really don't have to follow anyone's agenda but yourself. And it's just, and I didn't, now you're bringing it up, it's like, holy shit, it is exactly why it's like they connected of the people pleasing of why traveling by yourself could be so empowering and just feel strengthening because when you know what you want and you decide on those trips, you're able to, when you come back home, to be around your loved ones. Like, no, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to do that. I'd rather do this. Do you want to do it or no? And so if not, that's okay. You do your thing, I'll do my thing. And so yeah, traveling, solo traveling is my one of the joyful things I love to do. Honestly, just because all I do is what I want to do.
yes.
And if I want to leave early, cool. If I want to stay longer, awesome. I can decide that. And I remember just a quick note on too. I remember my first time traveling was like in my early 20s. I invited my friends. All my friends, they said they couldn't go because they were busy. And in my mind, I was like, I really want to go. I really want to go. I was like, and I'm also a very kind of, not, I'm also an impulsive person. So I was like, bang, I'm gonna go buy these tickets and just go. And then I was like, oh, I just did that. Okay, what do I do now? I don't know if I just booked a ticket to. I went to New York for my first time solo traveling, and I was like, what did I just do to myself? I just booked a flight by myself to New York, and then everyone around me was scared for me. I was like, New York is really dangerous. New York is very dangerous. Be careful. And so, but then when I finally took the flight and it landed in New York, I realized that it wasn't me being scared. It was just everyone around me. Because when I landed, I was so excited to do something for myself, to finally only do anything by myself. And so it just literally I could just walk anywhere, eat anything I want to do, eat, drink, walk to the park, Central Park, anything, watch a Broadway show. So many things that I decided what I wanted to do. And when I came back, my family saw a glow in me. They saw me glowing. It's like, Tina, you change. Like you're like happier right now. And I'm like, really? So I was like, whoa, and going, talking with energy, like, yeah, that's like one of the more subtle but stepping points of like me getting out of it. And really, I really want all the listeners to like travel by yourself, like to the point of go somewhere where you don't know anyone there. Just travel, check it out, and go home. Or if you love it so much, live there. So however you want, however floats your boat. But I encourage everyone to travel solo, at least once somewhere where you don't know anyone, and then see if you like it or if you don't, because it's so empowering to go. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I didn't know that you had the whole traveling experience as well when I was talking about that. So that's funny. And yeah, the glow that you had when you came back was the confidence in yourself because you proved to yourself that you can do it. You can,
Yes.
you don't have to have people telling you what to do and how to do it. You
Mm-hmm.
can actually do it yourself, make some absolutely wise choices for yourself. And guess what? You made it. You made it back home safely, and you now have those memories from that experience. Good stuff.
But
So I think that trip that you just talked about and the the information you just told our listeners that they can do it as well. I think that's a perfect segue for us to go to the fun segment of the podcast. So the fun segment is where I will ask you one, two, or maybe three questions, and I want you to just have fun. I want you to show the audience and share with us this fun side of you. There's nothing there's nothing formal about these questions. So I'm going to start with the first one. And this first question is, what is your biggest pet peeve?
my biggest pet peeve is one of the biggest pet peeve is waking me up during the middle of the night. I love my sleep. I love uninterrupted sleep because sleep is life, really. Like, how can you function without 8 hours, maybe 9 hours of sleep? Because I don't want to look around. I don't want to be walking around like a zombie, like no zombie. So I rather be fully awake and then give my whole self throughout the whole day. And I'm yeah, so that's like one of my pet peeves is like someone waking me up when I'm sleeping.
Oh my gosh. I That's mine too. One of mine. I do not like my sleep being disturbed at
Nope.
all. Like I do not like it.
It's like let me sleep, okay? So
Yes. And another thing regarding sleep, like, so when I first wake up in the morning, I do not like it when, if I'm around other people, like if I'm on a trip traveling or something, where as soon as you wake up, it's like da 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 da. They're talking immediately. It's like, whoa, can I? Can you give me a moment to just kind of ease into my morning? When I'm, oh my gosh, yeah, I don't like my sleep being disturbed, and I do not like as soon as I wake up. Now, someone is just like, "Hey, you ready to do this?" Da 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 da. Like, no, calm down.
It's like, so if you don't if my sleep is not disturbed and I sleep so awesome throughout the whole night, I am that person. I'd be like, "Hi, how you doing?" Because I'm not a snoozer. I'm not a snoozer. So I click the alarm on and I'm awake and I'm like, building and just like, hi, how you doing? But if someone does disturb me when I'm sleeping, while I'm sleeping, then I'm that. I'm like, don't bother me right now. I need to sleep more. So
That is hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay. See, I don't know. Aunt Tina, we would have to have separate rooms if we travel
yeah,
together.
we can't be the same real energy. Oh, that
Okay. All right. I do want to ask you another question. So,
yeah.
question number two is, what word would you describe yourself? What one word would you use to describe yourself?
One word. I I would say intense, but in a positive way, not like negative, because my energy can, or not energy, but my emotions can get very intense in a very, you could feel my body, you could feel my energy radiating in yourself of like positive energy. Like I just have so much intense, awesome positivity energy that you're just like, you could feel me from a mile away if based on how I am. And I just like I just like feeling my feelings. I
Mhm.
like feeling empowered, feeling happy, feeling joy. You will see how I feel. Like my heart is on my sleeves. And so so you know everything and so like about me. I just like to feel so like intense is another one word. Also it's I think I also another word is like a risk taker too in like in that regard as well. Because I like change
Okay.
in certain aspects, not in all aspects, but in certain areas I like change. So taking that risk, like I love one of the few things that I love doing is thrill seeking activities.
Wow.
So like skydiving. I also like to go parasailing, paragliding. Done I want to do bungee jumping. I also want to do cave diving. Those things a lot of people think it's like it's risky. I think it's like awesome. Let's go. Let's just do it. Let's just go. You want to go today? Let's go. Drive 1 hour to go somewhere and just jump off a cliff and then go into the water. And then so that's like kind of one of the things I love doing is like the risk taking part of my areas. Just
Oh my, I would have never guessed. I would have never guessed. That actually is going to lead me into, I'm going to ask you a third question, and you kind of just answered it, or you may be able to provide another answer. So, what is a fun fact or a random thing about you? Something random or a fun fact?
fun fact, I'm currently taking improv classes and it's so amazing. The community that I've created that I came into, they're so supportive, so loving, so welcoming. And it's also a space for me to just release all of my emotions and also just be funny, be hilarious, and just have fun. And that's how my body and how I am as a person. Like I just love to joke around. I'm very playful. I'm a like I think about 70% fun, like playful, and 30% serious. majority of the day. So it's like I'm always joking around. Or it's like, I want to play. And so being an improv class definitely helped me just be in that zone and just play all the time. And it's yeah, I just I love the community I am in
Oh
for
my
that.
goodness. Are you trying to go far with it? Are you taking it somewhere or is it just the experience?
So far, just the experience,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's also improv. It's also could be tied into your life too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so far it has of like thinking on your feet and um just one of their quotes was fall first and think later.
Mm.
Just taking that leap, just fall first and then think later because we all have the confidence and strength to think right away. You know, because if you think first, you stay in where you're at, you know, and so yeah, just improv is so great. I
Oh
love
my
it.
gosh. Well, I'm glad I did ask that question. I wouldn't have known. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for entertaining us during that little fun segment. So now let's transition towards the closing of this episode. I would like to give you the opportunity to share one last takeaway, one last thought, or like a final nugget that you would like to share with our listeners about the topic that we were discussing today.
So if you ever feel paralyzed or scared of moving, taking that first step, or you know, within your mind of like what you want to be when you kind of become, literally say fuck it. Just say that because you just and then do it anyways. Do it anyways because of all the negative feelings you have, you'll stay where you're at. So just leave it alone and do it anyways. You're scared all you're gonna be scared all the time, regardless like the little things. So just do it anyways. And know that once you go over that hump, you're like, yes, I did it. Fuck yeah, let's do this. I can go more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's fucking do it. I can do this. You know, and then you're on the other side already, and you're like, wow. And you look back and you're like, oh, I just, yep, I just did that. Let's do it again. And then, of course, and so, and also another note is that it's going to keep happening. It's not a one-time thing. So there will be moments like that constantly. And just remember to just fuck it and do it anyways. Fuck it and do it anyways. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Even if you feel paralyzed or scared. So I would like to, that's what would be my takeaway.
Yes, yes, yes. Do it anyways. Absolutely. You take the first step, you take that first leap, and it builds the momentum. The
Yes.
first one is the hardest. Once
Yes.
you get that
Always.
first one out of the way, then you keep going. And like you
Yep.
said, you can look back and realize it wasn't that bad. Do it anyway. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Tina, I really appreciate your information today, your time today, and I want to make sure that we allow you to let us know how we can support you. So, I want to give you the floor and give you the opportunity to just share your website, your podcast, the podcast that you mentioned earlier, and if you have any books or anything like that, to where we can go follow you, connect with you, and again, to just support you, please let us know all of that information.
Yes. So I do have an Instagram, Facebook that you can get connected with me. It's my first name and then O and then my last name. And then also my podcast called The Courageous Inner Beast, which you can find on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and also honestly in every platform. And that is where guests come in and share their first courageous story of any kind of platform story, whether it's like leaving a comfortable 9 to 5 or saying changing your family dynamic or saying or talking to a stranger. It's like, oh, I did this. And so, or even taking certain taboo topics that people don't talk about, that's also the first courageous step of anything. And so just having that platform for people to share their story. And this is how you will get connected with me.
Awesome, awesome. Oh, your podcast is going to be exciting. I'm definitely going to tune in. Have you released any episodes yet?
Yes, have already launched 6 episodes,
Yes.
and so it's still fairly new, but I'm going treading with it.
That's
Treading.
right.
So, and
That's
so
right. Oh my goodness. Well, make sure that you go support Tina. She has shared, again, a lot of information. She has shared her own personal experience. And thank you, Tina, again, for coming on and speaking on Energy Speaks Life. If you would like to be a guest speaker as well, and be interviewed on my podcast, connect with me, nrgspeakslife.com. And if you are not already subscribed to this channel, please do so right now. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Click the bell so therefore you can be notified every time that another episode gets released. And you already know how I close out. Remember that when you master your mind, and when you master your emotions, and when you master your assignment, you can live your purpose and live on purpose. Thanks so much. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.